I was watching this game, and I was like, this is a Justin Fields stat line. 122 passing yards, 82 rushing yards. I know how LeSean McCoy feels about Justin Fields, so I was eager to hear what you had to say about Lamar Jackson, given the fact there was actually a lesser stat line than Justin Fields. Can Lamar and how far can Lamar carry these Ravens?
But let me check you first of all. Don't ever put Justin Fields with the Action Jackson. Don't do that, please. It's not his fault they ran the ball down their throats. He didn't have to do much. There was bleeding dudes up front. And then, you know, as I know, in a football game, if we on the roll, it's loud, and we run the ball, and they can't stop it, no need to throw the ball. Let's run the ball the whole game. Anyway, I had to check that.
How far can he take them?
Okay, I think they can go far in the playoffs. I want to say they're contenders. I want to say that they can potentially get to a Super Bowl, right? AFC Championship game. I can see it. And the reason why is because, first of all, they have the fourth hardest schedule. I know you love schedules. I know you love who they're playing.
Schedules.
And they had big games that they lost.
Yeah, they lost.
Hold up. They had the lead the whole way through the game.
Cool.
And they lost in the fourth quarter. I told you earlier in the year, I said, once they find a way how to keep their foot on an opponent's neck, that's how you win games. So, and that's something simple to do. Play better defense, run the ball better. They're getting some guys healthy. They just got a speedster in LeSean Jackson. So now...
How's his hamstring?
He's going to be good. I mean, you know how that is. I know DJ. Hamstring hurt, and I ain't get the ball hamstring hurt. But coming off the bye week, he's going to be ready to roll. But I just think that they play well. They're getting healthy. They have a good defense. They're running the ball well. Lamar's looking good. I love this. I love their chances.
The Baltimore Ravens are what their record says they are. And I don't think a team is more indicative of that statement than that. Throw the record up there again, please. Throw the schedule up there again, please. Y'all really check this out. The Baltimore Ravens have lost to the Bills. They have lost to the Dolphins. They have lost to another team that I can't see because the schedule is too far. Thank you. They've also lost to the Giants. But then you look around and it's like, okay, so they've lost to those elites. They've beaten some good teams, though. Like, they beat the Jets. They also beat the Bengals. They beat the Bucks. And then they take care of the terrible teams. The Saints obviously are struggling right now, et cetera. So I think the Ravens are their schedule. I don't think, Joy, that they're legitimate AFC contenders because when they played against the legitimate AFC contenders, they did not win. I do like the fact that they have led, but Shady, you know my favorite love is track and field. A lot of people beat Usain Bolt through 70 meters, and several people beat Usain Bolt through 50 meters, but rarely ever is Usain Bolt beat through 100 meters because you got to run the whole race.
Okay, hold up. First of all, they had Miami down by like 20-something points.
They did, absolutely, right? 21.
And how often does it happen in the NFL?
It happened again. And then it happened again. So I will address that later. Joy, how far, or do you think the Ravens are legitimate contenders? Answer the question you want.
Yeah, I think they're contenders because outside of the Eagles, we've seen vulnerabilities in every single team.
That's true.
So once you get to the dance, you just got to win the next game. And I feel like the Ravens are capable of that. I don't put them in the same category as the Chiefs and the Bills and the Dolphins, but they're at the top of whatever that next category is, and I can't put them in that category because they lost to those teams. So that I think as the season goes on, you get a little more confidence. You find out what you're doing well. To Shady's point, beat the team how you beat the team. We know what Lamar Jackson is capable of. We know that. That's why we're always talking about him getting paid. I don't care what your stat line is if you're Lamar Jackson at this point. Win the game. The Saints are not to be played with. They're going to stay in the game. You saw him hang around at the end. Obviously, they were too far behind, but this is not a team to be played with either, even if they're struggling this year and they've got a lot of injuries. So I think you win how you win, and the Ravens are always consistent. And I think as long as you have Lamar Jackson out there, you have a chance. So
Dave,
you have to take him seriously.
Let me push this conversation forward. Ask you a question going off script. Joy said we know who Lamar Jackson is. I kind of think we do. I at least don't fully know, particularly come the playoffs. This is a playoff conversation because Lamar Jackson, we know, should get his team to the playoffs. Are you confident, based upon the Lamar you've seen and haven't seen in the playoffs, in what Lamar Jackson can do in them being contenders?
It's not about Lamar Jackson for me. I have rock-solid faith in Lamar Jackson. Like, he can do stuff that nobody else in the league can do. It's everybody else. And that's like, I like what Joy said. Like, if you want to ask me if they're a contender, I think that's fair because they're good enough to have a home playoff game. And from there, you never know. The Bengals were the 4 seed last year. I would bet the Ravens have a good chance to be the 4 seed this year. It's not about that. It's about when I look at the Ravens supporting cast outside of Lamar, I get a little bit nervous. No offense. I know Deshaun is your man. he is.
Tell him watch his mouth.
Yeah,
Tell him watch his mouth.
Like how you about
See,
to
tell him watch his mouth,
Let's
bruh.
skip it, because I don't know how
Real
I'm acting
talk.
on this
Cut to the
TV.
next
You get
sentence.
crazy now.
Just hit enter and go straight to the
Watch
next
your
sentence.
mouth.
big
Deshaun
dog.
Jackson is Deshaun Jackson. 2008 was a long time ago. That's all I'm trying to say.
He was still good in 2015, wasn't he?
I don't know.
And 17.
Let the man finish, because I'm trying to what about to say.
You mentioned a bunch of years that were also a long
mountain in
time ago.
trouble now.
No,
Real talk, bro.
this isn't what it's about. It's okay. Without Rashad Bateman healthy, without Mark Andrews healthy, which hopefully he can come back, but he
he's
wasn't
gonna be back.
He wasn't there last night.
They got a bye week.
Injuries have been a huge issue for this team. That's what I'm trying to say. Outside of Mark Andrews, you're talking about Isaiah Likely, a rookie tight end who I love. I loved him coming out of Coastal Carolina. He's a good player. But is that enough to lean on in the playoffs? Is J.K. Dobbins going to get healthy? I know he's supposed to, but these things are trends. Yeah. And I don't see a ton on Baltimore's offense. That, we talk about this with Aaron Rodgers all the time. It's not that different with Lamar. And it's not completely Baltimore's fault, because you're hoping Rashad Bateman can get healthy. He's out for the year. That's just bad luck. But, you look at the totality of their offense, and I'm like, do these guys have the firepower of the other great teams in the AFC? Do they have the firepower of Miami, of Buffalo, of Kansas City? The answer is no. And so it's not a knock on Lamar Jackson. I don't see it when you're talking about winning those types of games in the playoffs.
I mean, playoffs, but it's only really one team in the AFC that has done some real damage in the playoffs.
Chiefs?
That's the Chiefs, right?
I mean, the Bills.
Let's keep it. Let's keep it real. The Bills, they go and they lose.
Bills
right?
have gone to the AFC Championship.
And then we
They've gone before. Yeah, 2 years ago.
And we keep making excuses for them. Oh, they get it this time. Oh, they get it this time. Just keeping it real, right? The Dolphins, come on. I won't even disrespect the Dolphins, but they have no playoff
It's been
experience.
a long time since they've won a playoff.
Who else? Who else has that much playoff experience? Oh, my God, it's the playoffs. We had a Super Bowl last year with 2 fourth seeds. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So,
totally.
Let them get a chance.
But here's why, and again, maybe I'm too critical. I don't get it. But I remember the playoff game, the Ravens versus the Bills.
Okay.
I remember the Ravens losing that game, I believe, by 14 points. It was a pick six.
The pick six, yeah.
Lamar Jackson throws a pick six. That's a 14-point swing.
Yeah.
I remember Lamar Jackson in the playoffs versus the Titans his first time there when he had a whole bunch of...
When he was a rookie? You talking about his rookie year?
Sir.
That's crazy.
I'm bringing up...
His rookie year?
There are 3 playoff experiences. I'm giving
His
you all
rookie
3.
year, he was playing...
So you just want me to avoid...
I'm going to say, I don't even count rookies.
But that's not the same Lamar we're seeing.
That's not
Come
at
on,
all.
come on.
That's not at all. But I'm talking... Let's talk about the Bills one then.
Reaching
Let's talk about the Bills one.
Okay, go to Bills.
Because the Bills one was definitely not his rookie year. I believe the Bills one was the most recent.
Yeah, he threw a pick six. You're right.
And
close game.
17-3, and it was a 14-point swing. I'm just sitting here wondering, 2-5, how are you going to omit that game as though it didn't happen? You lose 17-3, and you literally lose by 14, and Lamar had a 14-point turnover.
Yeah.
I can't omit it. I don't know how you can omit it.
Well, things happen, right? I can't make an excuse for him. I mean, he threw the pick, right? I watched that game, and they lost. It was a tight game for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Most of the game until
and then the pick made a difference. But, I mean, you get better and better, right? I think if you look at Lamar's career, same as Josh Allen's. Every year they got better and better and better. I just think that when we look at the AFC, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Dolphins, and who else? And the Ravens. One thing they do better than everybody, they run the ball. The quarterback can run the ball. The lineman, the way that Greg Roman's offense is set up and schemed, to run the ball, right? You get some speed out there. A couple plays, you have the probably, top 3 best tight end in the league, right? And Andrew. So they got players. And on defense, Roquan makes a difference. In his first game, right, you can't tell me he hasn't been there. He looked great. Running sideline to sideline. So now you put him and Patrick Queen and the regular defense they have there, with then big 6'8" Campbell in the middle. Listen, they're going to do some damage, because in football and the playoffs, you need guys that can run the ball and stop the run.
I'll contradict myself a little bit, because that pass rush...
You see that pass rush?
Justin Houston.
And it's Justin Houston, 3 games in a row with multiple sacks. Obviously, Calais Campbell speaks for himself.
Was balling.
The pass rush has been a huge part of their last 3 wins.
And you need that against some passing offense.
Pass rush and running the ball translates to playoff football. I know that.
He almost retired last night. Stop playing.
But let me ask you this then, Joy. What do you make of the fact that the 3 teams with 6 or more wins the Ravens have lost to, and the teams that don't have those wins, outside of, I believe, the Jets, I think they just got to 6, the Ravens have beat? Do you make anything of that, or are you just kind of coincidence, or it's because I don't believe in that. I think there's a reason they've lost those games. The Ravens will leave the door open for everybody. The question is, do you have the ability to walk through it? You have to be great to walk through it. Not everybody is great.
To me, that's the problem. I think you saw a little bit of it even last night.
Correct. Co-sign.
Why are you not putting your foot on their neck right now? And that's frustrating for the Ravens, and it's something that is concerning. And I think that's why you have to keep them out of that category that the Chiefs, the Bills, and Dolphins are in. So if you can correct that as time goes on throughout the season, then you can be in that conversation. We've seen them be a little bit better with it, but not to the point that you really want to see it, especially against bad teams. Yeah. But again, to Shady's point, the only team that we can really look at and be like, no, we know what y'all going to do is the Chiefs. So everyone else still has questions. I still put the Dolphins and the Bills above the Ravens. But once you get to the playoffs, it's anybody's game.
Right.
So that to me is like, if you're going to ask me if I can consider them contenders, you have to, especially off of the things that we're talking about, running the ball and getting to their quarterback.
If you got Lamar, you got a chance.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.